See, there's this basic statement, since you asked learnings, one statement which is said very frugally and very often is that higher the risk, higher the return.
Which is?
Actual statement is higher the risk, higher should be the return.
But it is...
every risk comes with an upside and a downside. You should be ready for the downside.
So risk-adjusted return is what we learned today is more important.
2003 presentation, and the title was India, a Structural Growth Story. In 2023, 20 years later, I'm making the same presentation, India, a Structural Growth Story. In 2033, I will still be making a presentation, India, a structural.
So let me elaborate on the word structural.
Yeah.
कि ऐसा नहीं कि 2-3 साल अच्छे हैं and then...
Correct.
So when you're saying it is structural, we have decades of great growth ahead of us. Afraid of market going down.
So I'm asking everybody one simple question. Will you look at Sensex at 65,000 or will you look at India at 6.5 trillion? How you look at these two data points will define.
Hello and welcome everyone to AUM Finance Podcast. This podcast discusses the first principles of investing and is for informational purpose only. We intend to add to the body of knowledge. Please consult your financial advisor before taking any investing decision.
So I am badnaam amongst my clients. If some of my client buys an expensive car, luxury car, they'll not visit me for 6 months. They'll not bring mithai to me because they know I am going to fire them. Now I've toned down over the last couple of years. I'll fire them. Where did you get the money for the car? Why is... And I have a matrix.
So that is what need of investing.
That is needed.
The need for investing, if it were strong enough, they would analyze whether there is money enough for me for my retirement or the money should go to the car. If there is enough money here, no problem, buy the best of the cars. But sometimes since this is not there, the fulfillment of aspirations is before your need, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. In fact, I have a matrix, I developed a matrix that put all the vehicles in your garage together, put a value to that, and your mutual fund or your investment portfolio should be 5 to 10x of that.
Yes, well done. That should be the right thing.
That is my personal, I'm at 15 times.
Yeah, wonderful, wow.
So that disposable money, so that, it's a great contingency.
I did the calculation, I'm also okay on that.
Okay, you just did the calculation. Okay, now let's talk solution oriented. So for a child education plan, for a retirement goal, what solution you have in the mutual fund industry? How is it better than anything else? People are not aware of that.
Actually, see, my personal opinion is the solution is a mix of products. The solution should come from the advisor distributor.
Yeah.
Is my personal opinion.
You all are manufacturers.
Our job is to give a product.
I have to make a bouquet.
You have to mix them and make a client. Because, see, every client's goal is different. Every client's risk profile is different. And nobody is born with a risk profile. The risk profile at different stages of life is different.
So can you elaborate on risk profile?
I'm giving my own example. Yeah. Suppose my risk profile when I was 25 and my knowledge levels were very different to my risk profile and my knowledge level about my life on the day I got married. People think marriage is life changing. Trust me, for me, life changed on the day I had my kid. My responsibility, my ability to look at the future, everything changed after my son.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very interesting that, the couple was coming home, not for each other, but for the child, and it was okay.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, when my child was born, it was very different, providing for his higher education. I was underprepared because I didn't know higher education would cost this much.
Yes.
Came with a different risk profile.
And one reason managing personal finance, I'll just interrupt, is that you do the calculation based on today.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should do calculation based on future, and nobody has compounded enough to take care of the education inflation.
So I'd done that, but I had not thought that expense will start from class 9.
Yeah.
Because the tuitions start kicking in and preparing.
It's not only the school tuition fees that you have to pay. No. There are many sundry.
The classes which he had to go for preparing for his engineering.
Yes.
I had not thought there would be so much money.
Yes.
To be very honest.
Yes.
So that was different. And today at 53, when I'm preparing for my retirement, I'm a completely different person, right? And when the market tanks 40% during COVID, you are definitely tested on your risk profile.
Even you got tested. Even you got shaken up.
I got tested in 2008. I was tested and I was shaken up. I had redeemed money.
So 2008 we went down by 50-60%.
Yeah, so then
that was one of the biggest
so that is
crashes
when,
in recent memory.
to be very honest, that is when I was tested.
And you,
But
would be what was your family profile? The young children?
My son, one son.
You had one son. You were starting your career.
But I'm a fully invested guy, so
that shook you.
So the mix shook me of my portfolio. So I cut down that, corrected that. But this time, I was completely prepared, to be very honest. And I had put a barometer for myself. The amount the portfolio goes down, that much I will switch from my debt.
Okay, so if you have 10 crores, I'll take that. If you have 10 crores invested, let's say somebody has 1 crore of portfolio, market tanks by 30%.
So 30 lakhs I will switch.
Portfolio is down by 30 lakhs. 30 lakhs you will switch
from debt to equity.
From debt to equity. जितना गिरा है आपका portfolio उतना और डाल दो.
तो उतना मेरा.
This has always worked.
No, this
you have back tested.
No, this I did this time. Because I did not know कितना switch करूँगा. तो मैं मान के चला कि जितना गिरता है उतना मैं डालता हूँ.
तो आपने डाउनलोड एवरेजिंग किया.
हाँ पूरा.
स्वरूप, unfortunately not many people are in your position.
Because I went through 2008. So that is why I still.
तो आपके पास डेट था.
I am always 70. I was 60-40. Post COVID I am 70-30.
16 equity, 14 debt. Post COVID you are 70-30.
I am 70-30.
Now elaborate on asset allocation.
Yeah, so 60-40 was an allocation which would give me around
16 equity, 14 debt. ताकि अगर market गिरे
तो आप. But target return for my retirement is around 9.5-10%.
Okay.
उतने में मेरा जो goal है वो बनेगा ऐसा मेरा calculation है. And I am mathematically reviewing it every year.
Okay.
And now over the years, because of my mix, and I am creating an accumulation stage, I don't invest in small caps. That's my view. Not that small cap is good or bad.
You are at an accumulation stage, a fag end of the career. You are at the peak of the career.
Yeah.
Maybe you plan to retire 10-15 years down the line. So you slowed down. You become less aggressive.
Yeah.
Hence
because
you are
I
avoiding
want
small
surety of my money.
Yes. More
but
than.
Let me tell you, my mother, who is a retired professor with pension, is a brash small cap investor. Okay, because she has pension.
ये age से risk का कोई लेना देना. It's all here.
It's a stage of money. Her pension comes, which will come perpetually for her life. So she's taken care of. So she can do whatever she wants. I'm creating my pension. So I just want to be sure that my 9.5-10 comes. So मैं वो दायरे में रहता हूँ.
So Swarup, you are saying 9.5-10% expected return. You are saying you've done your financial planning, your retirement plan के लिए what the math you have done. And this is very important point. People don't appreciate that. People run after मुझे ज़्यादा return चाहिए. You are saying कि अगर आपको 10% CAGR return मिला, okay, and you invest the way you are investing, your retirement is taken care of.
Yes.
So you will not run after a 15%, probably 15-18% product.
So
it's not worth that risk.
It is not worth that risk. What's happened is, apart from inflation, एक lifestyle inflation भी होता है.
जी.
That cognizance happened during COVID. So instead of 60-40, I had to increase my equity to 70-30.
So you increase your equity proportion in your, you did the asset allocation, 60% equity पे थे, आप 70 पे आए. आपने ज़्यादा returns giving instrument को chase नहीं किया.
नहीं.
This is very important. This is, people, all the discussion unfortunately even today happens around this and not on asset allocation.
See, there's this basic statement, since you asked learnings, one statement which is said very frugally and very often is that higher the risk, higher the return.
Which is?
Actual statement is higher the risk, higher should be the return.
But it is not the.
It is not higher.
In the real world.
See, जितना ऊपर है उतना downside है.
हाँ.
I don't. At this moment, I don't want that downside.
And an intelligent investor is जो कम risk पे ज़्यादा return करता है. Higher the risk, higher the return.
Risk reward होता है ना.
Risk reward होता है. तो risk adjusted return का concept as a, and I would request you, you are in a position where you can influence, you are a great influencer, कि risk adjusted return पे कोई बात ही नहीं करता है.
No, but like I said, it's a business of managing risk.
No, but that somewhere you are manufacturer. Manufacturer also has to be in a teaching role.
No, but if you ask me, since you asked me as a sales guy, over the years, I'm a brash risk picker. I don't speak returns. You can check anywhere.
Yes.
But
as the industry as a whole, that message is not going.
I think it is.
Asset allocation is not going. Risk-adjusted return. If you talk to 1,000 investors, okay, 950 will say क्या होता है?
Correct.
You have to start from ABCD.
2 days ago, we were doing a session on margin of safety.
Okay.
And people rubbished me. Saying that, that's
the most important concept of Warren Buffett.
So basically we were discussing that. They go, वो आदमी कुछ बोल के गया है उस पर थोड़ा you know spend some time on it, and for him margin of safety was everything. And if you look at the market today, where is the margin of safety? It's very blatant in front of you. Please don't pursue past returns. वो हो गया, it is gone to the person who's invested. It's not your return. But I was told that maybe you don't have a small cap, that's why you are making this statement. I said we don't have a small cap, we don't want to have a small cap.
That is the fulcrum of his investing. So margin of safety is, as Warren Buffett explained, कि let's say if an engineer is building a bridge, okay, and he has built the bridge to take weights of 20 tons, he will write कि 10 tons is allowed.
Correct.
So there will be people who will break that rule, and maybe a 15-ton truck will pass it. Still, it should not break.
Correct.
That is margin of safety. Correct. So margin of safety is कि stock का intrinsic value होता है और एक मार्केट प्राइस होता है, मार्केट कैप होता है. मार्केट कैप इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू से कम चाहिए. आप 100 रुपये की चीज़ 70 रुपये में खरीदते हो और आप रॉन्ग भी हो गए तो 30 रुपये का मार्जिन
आपके पास रहता है.
तो मार्जिन ऑफ सेफ्टी तो इन माय
wherever you see margin of safety, you should buy that. As simple as that.
और वो करेक्शंस में ही होता है.
हाँ. So once you get that formula in place, then one should become unemotional about it. If I want 9.5, 10%, if I get 10%, I am not bothered what you are getting.
You are not bothered, तो वो नेबर को देखना बंद कर देना चाहिए.
See this.
My colleague, my friend, my relative is getting more than me.
But a caveat, maybe I am able to say this now at this age. Maybe at 40 I wouldn't have said this.
Okay. But then you are right today or you are right then?
I am right today.
You are right today?
Peaceful today.
So this is again very important. Sorry, I am interrupting. You have to read. This is a very important point which has come in today's podcast. कि you do a back calculation, sit with your financial planner, do a mathematical calculation. Child education goal, मुझे इतना return चाहिए, मैं इतना provide कर सकता हूँ. Retirement planning, I want this kind of return. And as long as your guy is delivering that kind of return, don't look कि market return क्या है. फिर index को भी मत देखो.
नहीं, क्योंकि वो आपका नहीं था गोल. देखिए, अगर कुछ चेंजेस चाहिए, सिट विथ योर प्लानर.
ये समझना और समझाना इजी नहीं है स्वरूप.
आई एग्री विथ यू. See, this I have learned the hard way. This I have learned by losing money. Okay, I was a return chaser.
Don't chase higher return.
No, I was a return chaser.
क्योंकि वो somebody will think कि if I get higher return, I'll achieve the goal earlier.
So,
but what's the pitfall of that?
So then on that day, my only thing, the day you achieve a goal earlier, are you ready to realize the goal?
But वो जरूरी नहीं है ना. You go for small cap, large cap से आपका गोल
मेरा large and mid
हो रहा है. लार्ज कैप से लार्ज एंड मिड से गोल मीट हो रहा है.
See again, I have
और आप रिटर्न्स के लिए स्मॉल कैप में जाते हो, बट देन स्मॉल कैप कैन आल्सो बैकफायर.
So there is a downside risk.
Right. So then वो temporarily we feel that this guy is giving 18, this guy is giving 13, so let me shift from 13 to 18 so that I achieve my goal earlier, but that 18 is not sustainable. तो 13 अगर आपका पोर्टफोलियो 13% दे रहा है और आपका गोल भी 13% में मीट होता है, तो you don't have to look anywhere else.
You should be happy. It takes some time, I agree.
I know. It's not easy to. I understand that. But it's not, people don't understand that.
See, I changed after 40. Okay. You know, but today I run my portfolio absolutely unemotionally. And I'm more cognizant of my lifestyle change, which happens subconsciously. But I try to note कि ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा ले रहा हूँ, ये कम ले रहा हूँ. Because I have some 7-8 years of working life or earning life left. I'm very cognizant of that. After that starts my passive.
So maybe somebody at your place will think I have only 7-8 years, let me be super aggressive.
Can be, nothing wrong. Right? Nothing wrong. Like I said,
8 ही साल है तो रिस्क ले लेता
हूँ. हाँ, ले लेता हूँ. But
क्योंकि बाद में तो नहीं ले पाएंगे.
But see both sides. Every risk comes with an upside and a downside. You should be ready for the downside.
So risk adjusted return is what we learned today is more important than risk. दो प्रोडक्ट है, एक 18% दे रहा है, एक let's say for example एक 13 दे रहा है. 13 में जो रिस्क है, जो वोलेटिलिटी वो कम है, और 18 में वोलेटिलिटी इज मोर. So you should always go with 13% product with less.
Again, I come back to that very powerful word. अगर कोई 13 दे रहा है, कोई 18 दे रहा है, your simple question should be why.
Why is it giving
18 क्यों दे रहा है?
हाँ, वो पहले पूछो.
हाँ, पहले पूछो, समझो. फिर वो why से आप सहमत हो, then take 18.
Start with why.
Always, वो why वापस आ रहा है.
Okay.
One of the largest this country has seen, you have to prepare. And I took out one of my old presentation, 2003 presentation, and the title was India, a Structural Growth Story. In 2023, 20 years later, I'm making the same presentation, India, a Structural Growth Story. In 2033, I will still be making a presentation, India, a
structural. So let me elaborate on the word structural.
Yeah.
कि ऐसा नहीं कि 2-3 साल अच्छे हैं and then
Correct.
So when you're saying it is structural, we have decades of great growth ahead of us.
Because we stay in India, we don't realize
We
how fortunate we are to be sitting in a 30, 40-year-old structural growth story, meaning tomorrow is better than today. For 30-40 saal.
So Swarup, here I'll refer to one, I'll interrupt. Warren Buffett ko pucha, what is the reason for your success? And Warren Buffett said, and I've taken more than 100 seminars on him, pan-India. So Warren Buffett said that I won the ovarian lottery. I was fortunate to be born in the 1920s in US, fortunate to be born a white because blacks को market में enter नहीं करने देते थे, fortunate to be born a male, okay, and fortunate to be born in United States.
See, he is the classic example of being at the right time at
the right place. So he saw that 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s growth, 2000s growth in US.
But why is Warren Buffett admits that?
Yes.
Not many people.
And he keeps managing it. Now, so in India, somebody is born today, somebody is a teenager, a youngster today, people like you and me, we are lucky to be seeing this kind of growth.
I mean, which counterpart of us in the world can sit in a country which will now go from 3.5 trillion to 6.5 trillion in the next 8-10 years? And I
believe it will happen faster than
that. Could happen faster. But I'm just putting a statement where I will not
Who will say? All others are degrowing.
Correct.
In fact, 80% of the world is degrowing. अपना growth maintain कर लिया, अपना status maintain कर लिया तो भी बड़ी बात.
At a global level, Mirae Asset's house view, at our owner level,
yes, please
is that in this geopolitical mess in the world, only one country will benefit, and that is India.
Wow.
So at a global level, our 17 other countries have been instructed to start India dedicated funds. That's our house view.
Wow.
Right.
So you are saying Mirae is a global fund manager. You are present in 17 countries.
16 countries.
All 16 countries have been instructed to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Okay, and start an India dedicated fund, which is true. We should. And in fact, even if they had done it 10 years back, if that dictate was given 10 years back, it would have worked.
So we used to have Korea money here.
Okay.
But
not from the other 16 geographies.
These are recent acquisitions. So all have been instructed. This was 6 months ago. All have been instructed, start India dedicated. So that's our house view on India.
And you're going to manage it?
Index can manage. We're forming indices out of our...
So Swarup, tell me, India, so there are emerging market asset class.
Yeah.
When will Indian equity emerge as a separate asset class?
No, I think the birth has already started. I mean, the inclusion of ours in the bond index will also take us to a different level because it's not just equity, capital markets, equity, debt. So both will start getting re-rated. The kind of interest that India has globally is to be seen, to be believed. I think I have been interviewed in this table by 2 journalists from Korea who've flown in just to interview me about the India story.
Wow.
In the last 3-4 months.
Okay.
So
the interest is picking up now.
See, I've had one issue perpetually. This is our market and we should own it. I think through SIPs, finally the Indian investor is beginning to own.
In fact, I read a data point yesterday only, that the FI ownership after COVID has gone down.
Yes.
And Indian equity ownership has gone
up.
up.
But खुद देखो, look at the Indian market, structural change post-COVID. Okay, we will give 16,000 crores a month. Which
SIP, through SIP.
SIP कितना हुआ? 1.8 lakhs. EPFO will give 50-70,000 crores.
16,000 crore SIP से आ रहा है.
तो
55,000 crore.
50-60,000. 50 to 75,000 EPFO will give.
EPFO.
So 1,80,000 plus 50 मान के चलो. 2,30,000.
Okay.
Insurance will give another 50,000. 2,80,000.
80,000.
I'm not even talking about PMS, VMS alag. I'm not even talking about the hybrid algos which will kick in.
So Indians together 3 lakh crore तो given है अपना.
3 lakh अपना buyer है. So the question I ask everybody.
3 lakh crore every year comes in Indian stock market.
From us.
It's a given. It is on autopilot.
This is data. Right? So the downside of the market is there.
That's why beyond the point. Why be so afraid of market going down?
So I'm asking everybody one simple question. Will you look at Sensex at 65,000 or will you look at India at 6.5 trillion? How you look at these 2 data points will define your behavior.
Usme I had a point. I know I should not enter. It's a wonderful thing you're saying. Ki whatever so you said you are 53. Next year you will be 54, you are at all-time high. But then you are at the peak of your career, right? You are doing better.
Yeah.
So all-time high का सबसे बड़ा misconception है अपने forward. It is at all-time high. Every day, tomorrow morning you will be all-time high.
जब ये 6.5 trillion जा रहा है,
हाँ, दिख रहा है. All the
किधर है all-time high? So, you know, there is a risk.
It is a very big myth कि all-time high तो मैं अभी invest नहीं करता हूँ. But आप आगे का प्रोस्पेक्ट
आप कल देख ही नहीं रहे हो फिर, और आप मानो नहीं मानो ये 6.5 ट्रिलियन जा रहा है। मैं जो भी people try to time the market and after hiring,
और 6.5 ट्रिलियन पे विल बी द थर्ड बिगेस्ट इकोनॉमी एंड द फास्टेस्ट बिग इकोनॉमी।
फास्टेस्ट
ऐसा बिग भी है, फास्टेस्ट भी है, और वर्ल्ड जीडीपी अपने ऊपर है। अगर इंडिया डी ग्रो करता है 2% से नीचे जाता है जीडीपी ग्रोथ रेट, डी ग्रो तो कर ही नहीं सकता, तो वर्ल्ड जीडीपी विल टर्न नेगेटिव।
ट्रू,
ऐसा कब समय देखा था?
बिल्कुल नहीं। एंड फॉर वंस द डेटा पॉइंट्स इज स्प्रेड अक्रॉस, इट इज नॉट जस्ट अ सर्विस लेड. We are so confident that we ourselves have a manufacturing ETF now, which is a non-financial portfolio. It's a fantastic portfolio because we feel the journey of manufacturing in India has just started.
If you want to service economy, अब वो बीच का जो leg miss हो गया था, we bypass manufacturing, went to service.
So if you want to catch a theme early, it is manufacturing in India. So when you look at this journey, say 10 years later, India will look a far stronger economy than it is today. So thankfully, you still have
और
time.
इसमें reversion to mean catch नहीं करता है?
नहीं करेगा।
वो एक ही कंसेप्ट डर लगता है मुझे कि रिवर्जन टू मीन,
अगर रिवर्जन टू मीन होता है ना, तो आप प्लीज फिक्स्ड एसेट से फाइनेंशियल एसेट और आइए।
ओके,
उस दिन।
अच्छा,
बिकॉज़ ये
फिक्स्ड एसेट्स, अच्छा,
सबके फिक्स्ड एसेट इतने हैं।
वी आर नॉट एक्सपोज्ड टू।
नो, वी वर इन अ फोरम जस्ट 2 days ago and the question was on geopolitical risk and all that. मैं बोला जी, geopolitical risk is subject to any place you put money. Why is that question coming to
only
capital
for the stock
markets
market?
only? Why not that I am buying a house for 2 crores? Why that will also be impacted?
वाओ, यस,
Right.
अगर आपको डर लगता है तो लोग बोलते हैं स्टॉक मार्केट में पैसा नहीं लगाता हूँ, अगले साल इलेक्शन है, लेट मी पुट मनी इन रियल एस्टेट। यू आर सेइंग जियोपॉलिटिकल रिस्क तो उधर भी आएगा, घर भी सस्ता मिल जाएगा,
घर भी सस्ता मिलेगा। So
तो फिर पूरा रोक दो फिर।
हाँ, so पूरा रोकना चाहिए, be in cash. That's
why only स्टॉक मार्केट? क्योंकि स्टॉक मार्केट दिखता है रोज।
हाँ, so at the beginning of my career, the Amphi chairman then, Mr. Korean, in 90s, 98, 99, he told me, what is your biggest challenge? What will be your biggest challenge? I said, what? He said, the NAV will be your biggest challenge. ये डेली दिखेगा ना।
हाँ,
The transparency of
म्यूचुअल फंड के दो फ्लॉ है। एक, बटन दबाते पैसा निकल जाता है, 99% barring the ELSS and close-ended to almost is over now. It's so easy to take out money. Because it is easy to take out money, people take out money, and we are showing NAV every day. हम घर लेते हैं, कहाँ हम दिखाते हैं प्राइस, ठीक है? गोल्ड
और जो प्राइस अप्रिसिएशन होगा ना, वो 20 साल का पीरियड होगा।
हाँ,
You give 20 years to this asset class ना, we will see rental income is 2 to 3%.
Rental income in India, residential is 2 to 3, maybe commercial is 3 to 4.
I tell people, all our needs.
Swarup, please clarify. People had this retirement planning अपने माइंड में पुराने जमाने में, 3-4 प्रॉपर्टी खरीद लेता हूँ, रेंट पे चढ़ा दूंगा और उस पर मेरा रिटायरमेंट होगा। What is the flaw in that?
मैं ये कहता हूँ, वही पैसा ना आप अपने सेविंग्स बैंक में रखोगे, उससे
ज़्यादा मिलेगा। इक्विटी तो छोड़ दो,
उधर मैं जा ही नहीं रहा हूँ। सेविंग्स बैंक,
रेंट, प्रॉपर्टी का रेंट, even if it is a growing market, whether it is metro or whether it is tier 2, people have this in their mind that I am a much better real estate picker. So there are these, from small town, there are people who are very big in their own town. They think they can manage that piece well. Okay, from towns like Nagpur, Pune, Sholapur, रांची, रायपुर, कि ये मेरे को मेरा प्रॉपर्टी मार्केट समझता है, मेरे फादर ने और मैंने बनाया है प्रॉपर्टी में, तो दे थिंक दे कैन मैनेज। वो एक 50% का फिलिप आता है तो उनको लगता है कि
I have given this advice to a friend of mine in Bhubaneswar recently. He's sitting on a house which is 6 crores. I have told him to sell that because it's a standalone कोठी।
put it in a MI,
मैं उसको बोला सेविंग्स बैंक में रख, उतना तक गया नहीं। Once I showed his wife this data, I said, क्या बात कर रहे हो यार, इधर तो हम मेंटेनेंस पाल रहे हैं।
Yes.
He said, move to a swanky flat.
Yes.
What
you like, whatever you like.
हाँ, तू ले ले और बाकी पैसा सेविंग्स बैंक में रख के उस पे रेंट चला घर। He lost it when he saw the maths. But, we are guided by emotions there.
Yes.
Plus, we are a 7-8 generation real estate buyer.
Yes.
So there's a comfort there.
Yes.
So probably the first, second, third generation of equity buyers. So, but now I'm beginning to understand कि, the amount of gold which we will wear, my wife or I also wear a bit.
Your daughter-in-law will not.
हाँ, तो वो अभी मैं बताता हूँ उसके बारे में।
ठीक है।
That much we will keep. The gold which is in the locker should be in digital gold.
It's a very big, I don't know, is it a very big economic loss, that the gold that we are keeping in the locker, वो money multiplicity नहीं हो रहा है उसमें।
नहीं हो रहा है।
Multiplier effect नहीं हो रहा है। Please explain.
Now what I'm saying is, वो अगर मेरा डिजिटल गोल्ड है और जो ज्वेलरी हम 10 साल पहले खरीदते हैं वो आज नहीं पहनते हैं,
20 साल बाद आएगा फिर से
आपको
फैशन
जरूरत है तो आप बेच दो और जाके खरीद लो एक दिन. So all that money which I am supposed to keep for my bahu, and trust me, I want, and वो एक आप हमारे कल्चर से उसको अलग नहीं कर सकते और मेरे को वो कल्चर रिटेन करना है.
ठीक है.
When the daughter comes to the
And
house,
somewhere during trouble times, gold comes to the help.
it's the final. See, gold is a fantastic thing.
It is an asset for a pessimist. Equity is an asset for an optimist. And
It's a good
the
hedge.
cycle comes both. But cycle, bad times आते हैं ना.
Yeah. So if you look at gold now, since we are just around the corner, give me 2 minutes. Somebody has said that this is a precious metal. It is a useless metal. It has no industrial use. Okay, we have agreed that it's a precious metal. Then that person, the financial planner, your Purvaj, has said that there is one SIP date in a year. Right? वो SIP date अभी आ रहा है 10 तारीख.
हाँ, ठीक है.
धनतेरस. Okay.
धनतेरस and अक्षय तृतीया.
It's a commodity. The more the demand, more the price. Invariably, Dhanteras is the most expensive day for gold.
Actually.
But किसी ने बोल दिया वो दिन खरीदने का है तो हम खरीद लेते हैं.
हाँ.
उसके बाद the person has added a fantastic principle of investing. When you get a good asset, you don't sell it. You continuously accumulate.
Okay.
You see the story of Mr. Jhunjhunwala. He has accumulated his number one stock at all prices.
Titan, Crisil and one more. He's a 3 stock guy.
He's accumulated at all levels.
Upward averaging किया.
Identify that to the gold story. And then finally you have been told that it is your last resort. You cannot sell gold. तेरे ये दिन आ गए तो सोना बेच रहा है.
तो
right?
Game over.
Now see the principle of investing. You have identified a good asset, presumably. You've continuously bought it. You've held it and you will not sell it. If you look at Warren Buffett, out of some 350 decisions he has made, 12 decisions have made him maximum money.
Yes.
But his ability to hold those 12 decisions for 30 years is what has
what
created
differentiates it.
That is happens with a house. You buy a house for 20 years, irrespective of price correction. If you apply the same principle of investing to equity, the result will be far better because when you look at the journey of wealth, पहले राजा महाराजा लैंड खरीदते थे, राइट? आज के राजा महाराजा इक्विटी खरीदते हैं.
आप पूरी businesses खरीद रहे हैं.
Everybody.
So I just went to the latest Geo mall which has opened, and I was with somebody, and somebody asked me कि why don't you buy brands? I said I prefer to buy the companies which are buying brands.
Yeah, so if
today the richest man in the world is the owner of LVMH.
But when you look at the richest man's valuation, it is the number of stock he or she has in that company multiplied by the stock price.
Yes.
So the asset class of the rich and famous today is equity. If you want to copy the rich and famous, buy their asset class.
Don't buy the products they are
So
selling.
earlier राजा महाराजा rich थे तो वो
लैंड के थे. आज राजा महाराजा बनना है.
तो वो जो
And it is accessible to everybody and in small ticket size.
Small ticket. Don't underestimate 1,000 rupees in the stock market in the next 10-20 years.
Done.
So we will end saying that you know there is a risk to investing. There is a risk to not investing. There is a risk to investing in equity. There is a risk to not investing.
But the biggest risk is not investing in equity.
Today in India, the risk of
India.
not investing is far larger.
Done. It's time for turntable last.
Yeah. So you manage 1,000 investors, and then they didn't come day one. Two questions actually. First, how did you go about adding clients, and your biggest learning from 1,000 families that you manage?
So second is easier. I don't know. I still don't know how to add clients. I am very bad at
I
marketing.
was expecting that answer.
I don't know. I have zero marketing.
Because somebody asked the other day, I got a question. What has been your strategy? I said,
no.
आपको समझ आए तो बता देना मुझे.
मुझे तो नहीं समझ. It happened naturally.
Yeah.
See, if you are doing a good job, people will discover you.
Correct.
So till date, and I might be wrong also, and there's a book. What brought you here will not take you.
Correct.
There.
This book is there.
This book is here. What brought you here will not take you there.
That's our Bible.
So the first 10-15 years it happened naturally. I am doing all this podcast. There's nobody back there in my office who's talking to prospects. There are no cold calls that happens from my office. One client, he's happy with our service. He or she refers to other clients. That's how I got client in 17 countries.
Wow.
Okay. But then maybe I would have grown much, maybe I would have grown much bigger if I had followed that approach. But see, people see through you. अगर आप किसी client prospect को मिलने जा रहे हो और आपके पास figure है mind में, तो they can read you. This is why banking in our industry has not taken off as big as we In fact, there was no role for IFAs according to me. True.
No, I have a view on banking. What banking does, it systematically takes the best client-facing person away from the client.
Yes.
Right? Which you have overturned.
Yes.
You are your best person,
Yes.
and you are always in front of client.
Yes.
And that's
And one
where-
phone call away, one message away.
Yeah.
Okay, we are reachable, and like maybe 10 years down the line, there'll be automatic. There will be a machine who will be answering my clients. But there is a time when you want to speak to a human.
Yes.
Money is an emotional subject.
See, I feel transactions can be automated.
Yes.
Advice will remain physical.
100.
Is my opinion.
Right, na? Even 20 years down the line.
Yeah.
And AI is moving very fast.
Yeah, can happen. So there'll be clients are different. Like you asked me a question, somebody with 100, 200 crores.
Yeah.
Then that person will say, कि मुझे एक personal fund manager चाहिए.
Yes.
So that's a different league.
Yes.
So there'll be clients at all levels and with all kind of requirements. So it'll be a broad market with space for everybody.
Right. Okay. So the question was, how did I grow? It happened naturally.
So I want one basic learning from 1,000 clients. What has it taught you?
So one is this risk profiling thing, right? Which the Westerners talk about a lot. I will not listen to what my client says is his risk profile. I'll judge. So I tell my family, I tell my friends, I am a psychologist. I am not a financial planner.
True. I
am an MFI registered MFD. I am a psychologist and I am a lie detector.
Wow.
So I speak to the manufacturers. As you said, market is supreme. Kabhi ye mat socho ki I've got it all figured out.
Yeah. That day you think.
That day you are dead. You are a dead person.
So, I always tell that once you've got a good manager, fund manager, and going through bad days, that's the time you should give that person money. Right? And the good managers, if you feel they're going through a bad patch, the day you redeem, the next day they will perform.
Yes.
That's what has happened to me in the learning.
It's so cyclical.
So when I get a good manager, bad days I give more money.
Good managers go through a bad phase,
Can happen.
and when they are out of favor.
Not bad phase. Their stocks are probably not at that point
in
of
favor
time
in the market. One more learning I'll tell you is, one was about risk profiling. No matter how good a performance you give to your clients, if the service is not good, they'll redeem.
Correct.
They want you to be on call.
Yes.
They want even the service to be equally good. In fact, some of them prefer a service over performance. We think.
True.
We think that obsession with service, with returns. So sometimes I say, and one of my clients told me, "Kya acha performance hai? You've given 10% more than what I had expected on a CAGR basis." But I didn't get 3-4 replies to my queries. Any last 2 lines you want to tell?
No, I think
Talk to Gen Z.
I'll repeat saying that realize how fortunate that you are in this country at this moment.
Yes.
And once you realize that, rest becomes very easy. You all definitely know you are more educated, more knowledgeable. But just this realization of how fortunate you are to be in this country for the next 10-20 years. Once you realize, next you will figure out.
Swarup, pleasure.
My
pleasure. It was
Thank
wonderful
you so much
talking to you.
Having me, really, it's thankful for to you
obliged
for
to
giving
you.
the opportunity. Hope I made some sense.
You made lot of, and I am sure this is going to go viral. Whoever listens to it is going to benefit.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for listening to the AUM Finance podcast. Remember that all investments are subject to market and other risks, and one should read offer docs and other documents carefully before investing.